Hey everyone, John Lorden here with a late edition of Johnny Vlogs. If you're out of the country, you might not know, but today is our Labor Day. So this is a holiday for a lot of people. Hope those of you in the US that are celebrating are taking some time off, hopefully doing some barbecuing, having some fun with friends. And I just want to give a quick thank you to several people on Twitter that told me to take today off. I really appreciate it, guys. But I have to film a video for tomorrow anyway, so I thought I'd just pop on and say hi. But thank you so much, Kim, Katie, Patty, and everyone that's liking their messages about me taking some time off today. I really appreciate it. Before we get started on today's topic, I just want to thank the new Patreon support that has come in this past week. Yoli Viali is now pledged. Thank you, Yoli. Chelsea Smallwood has increased her pledge. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Justina Kowalska is now pledged. Thank you, Justina. Joni Danger edited her pledged and upped it. Thank you so much, Joni. Barb Riffy is also now pledged. Hey, Barb. Michael Rooney pledged, and he pledged in a big way. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate the support. And JD has upped their pledge as well. What's up, JD? Thank you. So what's going on today? Well, this week is the first birthday of Case Cracked. So I wanted to just mention that to everyone. It's always a great milestone for me when I hit a year's worth of any show that I've kicked off. Case Cracked, you've probably heard me mention in some other episodes of Johnny Vlogs and maybe here and there on Case Cracked. It's a bit of a difficult show to research, and I wanted to just kind of explore that a bit with you guys. What's so difficult about Case Cracked? And I'm trying to figure out why it's so hard to find these stories. Now, if I think about it, there's a few different aspects to consider. First of all is how many crimes are actually being solved by police. So in the description box below, you're going to find a link to the FBI's website where they are collecting data on what they consider crime clearance rates. Now, we've talked about this stat on the channel before, but according to the FBI clearance rate specifically for 2013, only 64.1% of murder cases are solved in our country. And of course, that leaves a pretty significant number that aren't solved. Outside of that, for rape, there are two different definitions for some reason, but they're both about 40% that are solved. So there's a huge number of rape cases that are not being solved. For robbery, it's less than 30%. 29.4% of robbery cases are solved. Aggravated assault is much higher. It's at 57.7%, closer to the stat that we saw on murder. And then for what's considered property crime, like burglary, is just over 13% solved. Larceny is just over 22%. And then motor vehicle theft, just over 14% of those are cleared is really the right term rather than solved. But so just looking at the numbers, of course, there are going to be a lot of cases that don't get solved, and a lot of cases that I talk about on the channel are particularly difficult. So the likelihood of some of those being solved is probably even a little less than what we're hearing in these stats here. But outside of that, there's been something that's been talked about a lot in this country, not really recently. Ever since the whole fake news turn, people have kind of shied away from this topic. But I'd say 15 years ago or so, there was this really big push about negative media, about why our news stories are always seeking such negative types of news stories to cover. And I think there's definitely an aspect of that that affects my research for Case Cracked, because if you have a police department that does have a PR person, sometimes they do actually have people that are there. We'll call them media relations officers, but essentially they are people that are designated for communicating to the public whenever that needs to happen. If there's a bulletin that needs to go out or a press release of some kind that needs to go out, or on occasion when a significant case has been solved and that info needs to go out. In some cases, there's a person to handle that. I don't think that's universal. I think in a lot of smaller police departments, that duty falls to sometimes the chief, sometimes other people that are a bit higher up in terms of the police force. But you've got all those factors as well. First of all, is there a regular method for any particular police department to get its good news out to the public? And I think in a lot of cases there probably isn't. Then where you do have that, and there is, maybe they have their own website, maybe they have a Twitter and they put out information through there. Then does the media catch on to that and actually report on it? And I think that thought about negativity within media is still applying to us. I think that rule has not been fully addressed. I remember years ago, there was this big shift that started happening, particularly in television news, where all of a sudden they were trying to cover stories about good things that were happening in communities. It lived for like a year, and then it just seemed to completely disappear. Then they opted for, they're still going to cover the kind of terrible, tragic stories, but they're going to let their anchors show more personality and kind of talk about their personal thoughts a little more. And I think that's kind of where we've been stuck, particularly for the past decade or so. So it really makes it tough because, every week I'm out there looking and I'm trying to find stories. It'd be great if the cases that are cracked are actually cases that I've covered before. But I'm even looking outside of that. I'm just looking for interesting cases where the mechanism for what cracked that case is known. And it is a very tough research job. So first of all, I wanted to give all of you that have contributed ideas to Case Cracked specifically a very big thank you, because I don't think I would have gotten through this first year of shows without your help. And I do keep a list of suggestions, just like all my other shows, specifically for Case Cracked. It is the thinnest of the lists. Let's just say there is never any issue in terms of finding brain scratch content. Unfortunately, never any issue with finding Searchlight episodes. There are plenty of cases on that front constantly. But for this show, is it going to live for a second year? I really hope so, because I do appreciate the tilt that it brings to the channel in terms of now we're not only telling stories of tragedies, kind of like the major media news thing that I was talking about, but now we're telling stories of some of those tragedies turning into good outcomes. And I don't know that that's really, actually I do know it's not covered very well in the media that at least I'm reviewing for this show. So I'm going to keep trying. We're going to keep it going. But in any case, happy birthday, Case Cracked. And I also want to give a very big thank you to all of you that seem to have embraced it as part of the Brain Scratch line and made it successful over this past year. I truly, truly appreciate it. Once again, if you're celebrating Labor Day, have a great one. If you're not, I hope you're having a great day anyway. Take care and come back tomorrow for the special anniversary episode of Case Cracked. I've got a really interesting case, international appeal. You've probably heard about one specific aspect of this case before. I'm not going to blow it. You're going to have to wait until tomorrow to find out. But please come back to the Lord and Arts channel, and I'll see you there. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. See you again soon.